Alright, so today I'm going to be unboxing the new G-Shock that I received in the mail. This one is a 2100 series, and specifically this is the iconic red model. I believe the model number is the G-Shock 2100RRB-4A. Alright, so right off the bat, as excited as I am to open this and check out the watch, I'm a little disappointed that it came in just a paper box. I got this off of Macy's, so I should not be surprised, and it was on a little bit of a discount. It was like a 15 or 20% off discount, and so I shouldn't be surprised. But it's still a little bit of a bummer, though we buy watches for the watch and not for the box. So, open that. Oh, there it is. The iconic red G-Shock 2100. Ooh, shiny. So, fun fact, this is actually my first ever 2100 series G-Shock. I have never had a 2100 before. I gotta be honest, originally when I heard about this model, I wasn't the biggest fan of it because for me, I always associated G-Shocks with all digital. I didn't realize that G-Shocks actually made analog watches as well, and this is more of an analog digital watch, but still. So I never really bought into the hype of it. Now, I will tell you why I finally decided to pull the plug and add this to my collection of G-Shocks. So where I live, on my way to work and back, I always run into the lottery billboard, and I find myself thinking, what would I do if I ever won the lottery? And I confess, after you think of all the logistics that go around if you win, hundreds of millions of dollars, the things that I would purchase that is purely capitalistic because I have the money are three watches that I currently don't think I will ever own in this lifetime. And that is a Patek Philippe Nautilus, the perpetual calendar. Then it's the Vacheron Constantin Overseas. I'm pretty sure there's a perpetual calendar version of that as well. I wrote this somewhere. And then last one is the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak perpetual calendar. Now, I know in my lifetime I'm never going to drop $77,000 on a watch again unless I win the lottery. And so after doing a lot of window shopping and just kind of looking at the different AP models, I finally was like, you know what, I do appreciate the shape of it, and I know that a lot of people have talked about how the G100 is, the 2100 is reminiscent of the Royal Oak, hence called the Casio, even though the model is shaped after their original 5600 octagonal shaped. I specifically waited for a color scheme that I would like, with accents that I would like. So I never wanted the original red 2100 that came with this because that one had a red backdrop and light numbered. It's like a negative display but with red instead of black. The picture showed that it was pretty unreadable. And so since Casio currently doesn't sell a version of the red Casio with a traditional positive display, I have made do with this. And honestly, compared to the other red model that Casio sells of the 21 series, I actually think this one with the black accents instead of the all red is really gorgeous. So yeah, I am going to try this on. Actually, right on wrist I have today the G-Shock Rangeman 9400. It is one of my favorite G-Shocks that I currently own, and probably will forever be on my in my collection. So that's what it's on wrist right now. So let's see how this looks. All right, there you go. Finally, it's on wrist. Feels good. Oh, that is beautiful. That is gorgeous. Oh, look at that. That's the backlight. There you go. I currently have not looked into how to program all of these, so I need to do that, and I'll do that later. But considering this is just the initial overview, oh my gosh, it is beautiful. I love the red. I love the black accents. All right, so let me go over some quick overview specs about this. So the weight of this one is 51 grams. It's a bio-based resin band, just your traditional G-Shock material. The case size is 48.5 by 45.4 and 11.8 millimeters thick. The crystal is mineral, just as every other G-Shock. Some of the features that are in this one is your traditional G-Shock features. You've got your world time, timer, light, calendar, stopwatch, etc. And it looks gorgeous. I am sold. I'm sold on this design. It's actually not as big or as small as I was worried it would be. I have both on different occasions thought that this would be too big for my wrist, and then I've also thought that this would be too small on my wrist. I confess I'm not the biggest fan, looking at this even right now, I'm not the biggest fan of that negative display, but I still think the negative display looks good against the actual dial and the color of the whole piece. And so even though individually I'm not a big fan of the feature, as a whole it actually fits, I think, better than it would if it had a positive display. Right now they're just showing the seconds, the a month and the date, and then this one is not on daylight savings, so I need to get that situated. Yeah, I am a fan. It feels really good on wrist. I think this is going to be taking a lot of wrist time this year, and I think what I'm going to do eventually, after getting some time with this, is I was teeter-tottering between thinking if I wanted to get the metal version of this. I know eventually I want to get the metal version of the 5610, but this one I wasn't sure. But considering how, like, immediately first impressions on how this feels on wrist is fantastic, and I love it. I'm really curious to see how the metal version would feel, and I don't want to add that to the collection. Also, I don't know why it took me this long to mention, I absolutely love that sunburst dial. It pops. It's not so in your face, but it looks elegant. Yeah, it's such a pretty watch, and I can't wait to have this on hand or on wrist on a more regular basis. All right, well, that is all I have for right now. I appreciate you guys taking a minute to kind of hear my thoughts on this one. Again, it's beautiful. I haven't seen a lot of videos specifically on this model. They also have a couple of other watches that are for this iconic red series. They have the 5600 series in this iconic red, and I think the 110. I might be wrong on that. I'll see if I can get that information, put it on screen for you to see. But until next time, appreciate you guys. God, that's beautiful. All right, see you guys later.